One.
Hey everyone, good evening. Just give me one moment here. I'm just kind of getting my station here set for 1 second. Just give me 1 second. My computer's running a little slow like everything else in this country. Okay, here we go. I'm clicking in. And welcome everybody. So today is February 5th, year 2025, year of our Lord, episode 20. Good evening, Earthlings and beyond. Thank you for sharing this time with me. It is greatly appreciated. Listen, give me a like, share, comment, hit the notification button on YouTube at Broom Media. Look, let's get this party started, family. Tonight, we have a lot of topics to go over. Car repos are up. Now, it's really the best time to buy gold. Americans jailed in El Salvador. Trump's Gaza Plaza coming soon. Weapons in Ukraine back on. China builds the largest laser on Earth. And of course, we could not have a nomination without Republicans trying to nominate another sexual abuser. So strap yourself in, grab a nice cold drink, and really let's get this party started. Just a reminder, when government fears the citizens, liberty grows. When citizens fear the government, tyranny grows. Now let's get into this, people. Hey, Amy. Hey, welcome to the party. So, my first story is making repos great again. So, order repossessions are way up. As a matter of fact, I know someone who just had their car repoed. It's strange that this story came out. A single mother just had her car repoed. But this has nothing to do with that. It just happened to happen in the same week. And not just for low-income people. This is hitting people making $150,000 and above now. Why is this happening? Well, because the Federal Reserve has been artificially holding down rates and encouraging people to keep borrowing. The whole point of raising rates is to stop the private sector, stop companies, stop banks from loaning money, but that's not happened because they have not raised the rates quite enough. Now, Trump, in true Trump fashion, gave an interview on Hannity last week where he stated their rates were unbelievably too high. No, they aren't. Rates are actually low when you stretch it out over the past 30 years. We're actually almost 2 points under where the average used to be up until just a decade ago. And this is why prices are too high, because the Federal Reserve has refused to fight inflation adequately. And because they have not fought inflation adequately, which I predicted they would not do, because their biggest fear is popping the economy. That's their biggest fear, okay? And nobody wants it to pop on their time. That's why Trump says, I don't want to see the stock market go down. I don't want to see real estate go down. Not because he cares about your investments, because nobody wants to be the person sitting at the table when everything's got it correct. So, the delinquency rate among high earners is up at a 5-year high and rose 130% in just the past 2 years. I have been saying for years, when all this started, that eventually inflation will catch up to everyone who do not have the proper assets in debt-to-ratio income. Home insurance, auto insurance, property taxes, HOAs are killing people who would not normally be doing okay. Plus, living in more wealthier, denser areas, New York City, Jersey City, LA, San Francisco, all the big metropolitan cities, they have higher premiums. Why? There's more risk. I have been advising people for years not to overextend themselves and not to get suckered into car loans that they do not need. I always find it fascinating whenever I see people complaining about, basic necessities, and they got in their driveway 60, 70, 80,000 vehicles in the driveway. Sometimes 2, sometimes 3. You might want to look in your driveway because that's where a lot of this money gets burnt. Hey, Isaac, welcome from Texas. I love it. Hey, Amy and Julie, God bless you guys. I appreciate everybody for joining. Too many people get lured in to luxury vehicles when they should be driving something more practical. More is not always better, especially with cost repairs and maintenance. I could speak to this personally. I was telling a story last week how my brand new GMC Yukon, I blew $2,200 getting a little sensor fix, and guess what? Just yesterday went back in the shop. There goes another $2,000. And again, my 67 Caddy, I could start that bad boy up now. Of course, it runs on orphan tiers, and it probably blows out 10 gallons of fuel just getting it to the corner. But you know what? I start that bad boy up. She starts right up. Good heat, good AC, good. The thing runs like a clock. This freaking new thing, forget it. It's always in the shop. So I tell people less is more. And so Bones has a rule of thumb. First step, don't lose money. Second step, repeat rule 1. I got that from one of the richest men in the world. I'm trying to remember his name. It just kind of flew out of my head. But that's a rule that I live by. Dan Penn. No, it wasn't Dan Penn. It was somebody else. I'll think of it. But according to the Bain's Consumer Health Index, they are looking at high income earners lowering their spending by 10% in 2025. So basically what's happening is a lot of people got all juiced up during COVID. All this money went out. People were feeling great. It's like the 1920s. They were at home partying. Hey, I don't have to go to work now. I got all this money. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to gamble on crypto. I'm going to gamble on all sorts of things in the stock market, that are way over leveraged and have no earnings. And so what's happened is we've blown huge bubbles. We've blown massive asset bubbles, including real estate. It's a massive bubble just waiting for that pin. And this is caused by the Federal Reserve, by the government. Look, I remember during COVID, Trump tried making the comparison to World War II, okay? And what he did was, he was saying, oh, this is like World War II, we all have to pitch in. But that's not what happened. What happened was, during World War II, you either went off to fight, okay? Or that's when they came in with the income tax. That's when they came in with the withholdings. The people, the citizenry, they didn't take money from the government during World War II. They loaned the government up to $1 trillion during World War II. They were buying bonds, war bonds. They were, wives were going from the home into the factories. That was real sacrifice. What happened during COVID was bulk BS. Now, I'm not taking away from people who were the doctors, the nurses. Those people, no. You guys, were in the thick of it. You didn't know what was going on. So that part, yes, there was sacrifice there. But the average person, I didn't sacrifice. Look, what I did during COVID? First off, I didn't shut down. Everybody was I still had everybody. I didn't care what my governor said, okay? He could have put all the crime tape he wanted, because he put up crime tape in the school parks. He actually crime taped the swings, which is pretty ridiculous, because I was saying right from the beginning, people need to go outside, they need to exercise, right? Staying home, being a fat lard, that's only going to make things worse, right? But, so we stayed working. And you know what I did? That's when I rebuilt my 67 Caddy. Me and my boys came together and we rebuilt the motor, the trans, the drivetrain, right? And yes, it took longer to get real GM parts, but who cares? Nothing was going on anyway. So I always found that kind of ridiculous how they made that comparison, because what we went through COVID was nothing like World War II. Now, here's the thing. The amount owed reached an all-time high. 1 in 4 people are underwater on their vehicles now by as much as $10,000. Can you imagine that? Look, my first car was $500. My second car was $500. That's what it was. I remember being able to drive up the street and find a car, like a Cutlass or a Monte Carlo, and the thing drove great. Maybe you had to bleed the brakes or something, big deal. Florida never closed also to standage managed. Well, JR, I hate to push back on you, but Florida did close. As a matter of fact, Florida closed I-95. He had the sheriffs chasing people out of the ocean. DeSantis gets way too much credit for Florida. Now, did he open up a little early? Yeah, no doubt about it. But Florida absolutely closed. South Carolina closed. You know who opened up for, actually 2 states. It was Kristi Noem, and the other state was Georgia. And I'll never forget, Brian Kemp of Georgia, I remember when Trump did the 15-day to close the spread. I know Republicans hate talking about this. They swear to God Trump didn't do anything. He never did anything with COVID. It all happened in our head. But Trump did 15 days to close the spread. That was March 15th, of 2020. Then he tried to do 45 days to slow the spread, and that's when Trump came out with his these are essential and non-essential workers. Does everybody remember that? All of a sudden, Republicans forgot that. Who was essential? Who was non-essential? Apparently, if you worked at Walmart, you were essential. Me, though, I was non-essential. Amy was essential. She was a nurse, right? So, everybody's got amnesia with COVID. But yet, and this is the strange part about this, Trump brags about shutting the airports down, shutting the parks down, shutting the federal buildings down. He brags about it. He also brags about the jab. And it's like nobody hears it. But what about that sheriff? Matter of fact, one of my first episodes, if you guys go back, I think it's episode 2 or 3, where a sheriff was going to be nominated for something, and we called them out because that sheriff in Florida arrested pastors. So Florida definitely shut down. They went after churches. They went after clergy. They went after surfers. And they screwed up the whole economy. Let's just call it what it is. Like, we're not doing anybody any favors. So, no, see that. Okay, well let's talk about. That's funny that you said that. Wait, let me take a look here, just for 1 second. Well, okay, let me talk about the budgets, right? The state budgets, because it's just like the federal budget. The federal budget's taking in more money than ever. Why? There's no jobs being created. They were all government jobs. Where is the money coming from? Come on, let's smarten up. The money's coming from inflation. And money's coming from, even for the states. Think about it. All the extra property taxes, sales taxes, income taxes. Now, look at what they're charging in Florida. You people need to wake up. Florida is no longer a deal. Florida is expensive now like New York. Look, most of my friends now live in Florida. They can't believe what they're seeing. I have an uncle that lives in Florida on the West Coast. His taxes went up 3, 4, 5 times. His HOAs are going through the roof. Are you kidding me? Why? Now, where is all this tax money going? It's going straight to the governor's house, making him look like, oh, look at me. I'm running such a great state. Let me tell you something. Without all that extra tax he'd look like a fool. But again, you know, when you're robbing the people, you look great, you know, because you're collecting so much more money. And that's the problem with inflation. Inflation can turn zeros into heroes. Investors too. I mean, come on, think about it. Look at Bitcoin. As a matter of fact, I'm going to get into that in a little bit. That's one of the biggest bubbles on the planet, making people look like they're such geniuses. But then when you ask them to explain, what's the difference between a Bitcoin and a Trump meme coin? They can't explain it. It's complete nonsense. And again, that's what inflation does. Well, yeah, I mean, look, if you're talking about, if you're comparing Murphy versus DeSantis, nobody can argue that. 100%. But DeSantis, and Amy can verify this, she's on here. DeSantis, you know, he's not exactly a rebel for freedom, going after, you know, marijuana people, going after, you know, abortion. The past 6 weeks, you know, that's it. You know, you're gonna put a doctor in jail. You know, there have been people that died down there. I mean, look, you know, from a libertarian perspective, just leave people alone. Let us live our lives. You know. So, look, I can pick apart DeSantis all day. I'm not going to do that because that's not what this show is about. But, you know, he's not exactly, I'm telling you, this guy got a lot of, and when this economy blows up, the guy in Texas, there's going to be a bunch of people that got so much praise, they're going to look like complete fools. Just trust me, it's going to happen. Yeah, like, okay, so Disney. I'm getting suckered into all this, but I'll take it. So again, a private corporation. What business is it of DeSantis to get in the business of Disney? First off, he lost that battle. Let's just be honest about it. He lost. He gave up. Why? Because Disney started suing him. Look, here's the truth, all right? Look, here's my problem with Republicans. They don't get the fuck out of our business. They worry about our bedrooms. They worry about what we're smoking, what we're drinking. I mean, now Republicans support fucking going after Coca-Cola, for God's sake. I mean, look, Republicans need to get off their high horse because they are not for freedom. They are for freedom only if they agree with you, just like the Democrats. So as far as that stuff goes, leave them alone. Look, if you don't want to watch Disney, change the channel. Just like me. I tell people all the time, hey, look, I'm going to offend you. If you don't like it, leave, right? But you don't get government to be used as a weapon. That's right. Yeah, so, you know, this is my problem with Republicans. They pretend to be conservatives. Right now, look at what Trump is doing. Look, I like some of the stuff that Trump is doing, some of the stuff, but again, I want anybody right now, show me in the Constitution where it says executive orders. Just show it. Just anywhere where it says it. The reason why there's no executive orders in the fucking Constitution is because they did not want a king. This is ridiculous. Both sides abuse this power. Show me where it says czar. Show me where it says a czar. Now, I like the czar from the border. I think that guy's great. Tom Holman, God bless him. He's a great guy. But he shouldn't have the job. Why? Because it's unconstitutional. I can name just about every single constitutional amendment that this guy has broken in 2 weeks. Now, again, I like some of this stuff, but I'm not a hypocrite. I'm not a hypocrite. I'm going to call Trump out. He's violating the Constitution. Okay? And shame on you, sheriffs. Shame on you for pulling people over, asking them for ID, when you don't even have a crime. You can't even articulate a crime, but because people don't know their rights, you get away with it. And then you get people who defend that nonsense. Well, you know what? One day, you might get sent to a prison. And now, I got a story coming up. Do you know that they're making a deal with El Salvador to go put American prisoners in El Salvador? This is what you're going to vote for? This is, I mean, you can't get more unconstitutional than that. Marco Rubio, little Rubio, who, by the way, Republicans hated But now because he blows Trump on a daily basis, you guys love him. This guy just made a deal with El Salvador that, he'll take any American citizen who's been convicted of a crime too. And Marco Rubio loved it. Trump says he's open to the idea. That's one of my stories for tonight. When are you guys going to wake up? Like, just wake the fuck up. Everybody, both sides. The Democrats do. Look, trust me. Biden is stupid enough, he would go for it too. Let's not fool ourselves. You know? So, you know, I'm sorry, but, you know, it's, you know, if we're going to talk about COVID and freedom and the Constitution, let's just be honest about it. You know, that doesn't mean I don't like some of the things that were in the executive orders. There are some things that I like. You know, I like the idea of Doge. I like that idea. But what I don't like is the unconstitutionality behind it, right? I don't like unelected pricks going in the Treasury. They now have all your information. Do you know Trump allowed Elon to go in the Treasury, but then Elon allowed these 25-year-old kids to go in there too? And then when Trump was asked, hey, do you even know these kids are? He goes, no. So there are people in the Treasury right now. They have all your information. They have not been confirmed by Congress. Nobody knows their backgrounds. They're in there looting the place. We have no idea what they're doing. Now, maybe they're doing great stuff in there. Maybe they're not. Don't you think at the very least we should at least follow the Constitution? At least Elon should open his books. Make him open his books. What's the problem with that? Make these people, let's see why they're in there. Let's confirm these people before we just give everything away. This reminds me of 9/11. 9/11, we marched right into war. We marched right into taking our rights with stupid things like the Patriot Act. Why? Because people sat back and go, I'm so scared. Please save me, government. And so you guys gave it all away, just like the TSA. I'll never forget it. The first time a grandmother got molested at the airport. You know, it was just like, well, we have to do that for our safety. Really? You do? You have to molest grandma? You guys support that. So, please, spare me I'm a conservative, I believe in the Constitution. Look, we profile people, right? When you call, like, I don't call the cops. When people call the cops, they go, what did the guy look like? He was black. He was Chinese. He was tall. He was fat. He looked stupid, right? We profile people. You think grandma is going to blow up the fucking plane? I mean, you people are ridiculous. You know, now, like, I have a buddy. As a matter of fact, tomorrow, I got a friend from New York. Him and his daughter are flying to Myrtle Beach because I have a thing in Myrtle Beach I'm going. And, you know, his daughter's going to get molested. You know, they always touch the little girls. We know that. This is what government does. I'm sorry. I don't give a fuck if you have a badge. You are a pervert. Get out of... Stay out of... Stop touching these little girls, for God's sake. And grandma. Like, I'm tired of it. So anyway, I love you guys. So anyway, it's not the golden age, but it's definitely time to buy gold. Now, gold keeps hitting new highs, and nobody really is talking about it except for me, because CNBC can't stop talking about Bitcoin. You know, why? Why does CNBC only talk about Bitcoin? Because they're their biggest sponsor. So, naturally, you talk about them. Investors have been saying since gold was at 1900 that gold was so expensive. Because they keep listening to the eggheads and the Federal Reserve tell them that they have inflation under control. Well, now we're touching 3,000. And all the commodities are going up and away. Now, look, if you can't afford gold at 3,000, then at least go buy yourself some silver. It's hovering around $31, $32 an ounce. Now, the reason why silver has so much further to catch up is because, you know, central banks, they don't house a lot of silver because it's more bulky. But it's good for, you know, individuals to pick up. And it's better than your money sitting in the bank rotting away. And it's certainly better. You look, it's also a great time to sell your digital trash called Bitcoin, Dogecoin. You sell your, XRP and all that other nonsense. For the real thing, don't sit at the crypto table too long. Be a winner. Join a winning team. Buy gold and silver. Buy their funds and stocks. Oh, and here's another thing. El Salvador just announced that they're dumping Bitcoin. So it failed in El Salvador, just in case, anybody was wondering about that. But, thank you, Amy. I appreciate you. So, going to jail in El Salvador. So, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, little Marco, I still can't believe that he's the Secretary of State. I just can't believe it. But, whatever. Could not have been more complimentary about the deal he struck with the president of El Salvador. He was delighted and stunned at the fact that the president agreed to the most unprecedented, extraordinary agreement anywhere in the world. This guy in El Salvador not only offered to take illegal aliens, but also American citizens, that are convicted. He's willing to take them down there. And how did Rubio respond? He says he loves it. He says it's a great idea. And then when Trump was asked on Tuesday, Trump told the reporters he would embrace the idea. So, again, now, Trump did say, he has to look at the legalities of it, but of course it's completely unconstitutional. While that was already a win for President Trump, whose priority has been to speed up the removal of undocumented immigrants from the U.S., the real surprise came in part of the deal when Rubio mentioned next. He offered us to do the same for dangerous U.S. criminals. Now, of course, this would be completely unconstitutional, but, that doesn't stop anybody now. Everybody likes, the Constitution is just a formality. We now outsource everything. We outsource phone work. So when you get you make a phone call, it's somebody in another country. We outsource our border security. Look, don't you feel good now that Mexico and Canada are going to protect our border? Doesn't that make you feel good? And we also outsource our military, right? We hire all these contractors around the world to do our dirty work, right? Doesn't it feel good to keep hiring outsiders? We are literally the outsourced capital of the world. Instead of making America jobs great again, we can make foreign jobs great again. And this has been the plan the whole time. Yeah, so look, look, if you're here, so again, my whole thing with that story regarding, is really the U.S. citizen side. That's going to be a real travesty on this country if we start sending U.S. citizens to outsource our prisons. Our prison system is overloaded with people who committed crimes where the crime, it should have never been a crime, right? But because of things like the drug war and all these other little wars we got going, right? People get swept up. And, and let me just kind of say this too, that I know that the last trade deal with, I'm putting in quotes, with Mexico and Canada, which really wasn't a deal because Mexico and Canada already has those people there and resources there. But then it turned into like a drug thing where they're like, oh, well, this will help stop the drugs from coming in. Well, I love now, this is my favorite part. Now, the same parties that, or political gangs in this country that were responsible for the crack epidemic, responsible for the heroin trade in Afghanistan. Matter of fact, outside Bagram Air Base was the largest poppy fields, heroin fields on the planet. And our troops were directed by the Pentagon to protect those fields, okay? The largest heroin fields on the planet, poppy fields, our military was protecting. So spare me your BS talking about, oh, we need to stop the drugs from coming in here. When we were the ones who created this stuff. Even the opioid addiction. Where did opioids come from? They came from the federal government helping create it. They helped create it with the Sackler family. So look, drugs is a big business. And so our government wins on both sides. The government makes money from creating the epidemic. Then they create the laws. Then they put the people in jail. Then they get free slave labor, right? And they get to steal your stuff, right? They get to take your car, your house, right? And this is all cool, right? So they create the problem, and then they want to come out with the solution, which is classic government speak, right? So, hey, Monique, hey, how you doing, hon? Haven't seen you in a long time. God bless you, hon. So again, look, I'm all for putting people who commit real crimes away, right? You hurt somebody, you steal, right? You got to get put away. But spare me, your phony, I'm for the drug war, when you support the government that, created the crack epidemic, for God's sake, in New York, which killed a lot of people, some of them that I knew personally. So, up yours on that one. With love, of course. So, story number 4, get ready for the new Trump Gaza Plaza. So, I want to play a clip real quick. And here's Trump.
The only reason the Palestinians want to go back to Gaza is they have no alternative. It's right now a demolition site. This is just a demolition site. Virtually every building is down. They're living under fallen concrete that's very dangerous and very precarious. They instead can occupy all of a beautiful area with homes and safety, and they can live out their lives in peace and harmony instead of having to go back and do it again. The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area. Do a real job, do something different. Just can't go back. If you go back, it's going to end up the same way it has for 100 years.
So, let's not forget who supplied those bombs, who funded that whole thing. And now it's convenient. Look, they leveled the place. And, and it's funny because now it's come out that Trump was asking Jared Kushner and Bibi back in last summer. He was saying how interesting it would be. What do you think about putting a hotel over there? Do you think we could do that? He was talking about this over the summer. Trump said it was a demolition site. Well, who demolished it? Whose weapons were used? Now we see why they demolished it. Because they wanted the land for profit. And if that means killing tens of thousands of people, women and children, then so be it. Everyone is talking about the U.S. aid being stopped. But the media forgot to mention the only aid that has not stopped was the U.S. aid to Israel. Because you cannot, we owe allegiance to Israel. We can't, clearly they're in the Constitution. They're just, we cannot not take care of these people. So the entire globe was told, screw you, except for Israel. You think that was just a coincidence? Look, now we know why. Egypt and Jordan both came out very strongly against this. They said they're not taking now any more Palestinian refugees. Trump has escalated spending to Israel. Now check this out. $1 billion he sent on his first day. You know, like a king. He could just give $1 billion, you know? And now they're talking about another $8 billion. So that's going to be $9 billion going to Israel. How much was sent to North Carolina? Can anybody guess? I'll tell you what it was. It was $225 million. So let's get this right. Let's keep score. Okay, we're keeping score. We got $9 billion for Israel because we have to give it. We have to. Or you're an anti-Semite, right? Or $225 million to Asheville that looks like Gaza. Mind you, Asheville looks like Gaza. Again, this is all... Now, here's what I would have loved. You want to know what I would have loved? If Trump would have came out when he went to Asheville, instead of giving a measly $225 million, which, by the way, will barely cover the infrastructure there. If he would have said this, what he said with Gaza, said, hey, look, you know, we could turn this, you know, into a picturesque type community here, you know, and it's America. No terrorists, nothing to worry about, you know, and you know what? In America, we have thousands of miles of shoreline here, Mr. President. We do not have to dump more tax dollars in the desert. Not to mention, you're willing to commit 100,000 troops just to hold a little tiny piece of property? So you and your boy Elon and Vivek and the other corporate masters, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, right? All of them, they're going to be building, Jared Kushner, you know, why? So you're willing to put troops in there? You have no respect for the troops. I'm sorry. I am sorry. And I'm glad. You know what? My post today, I was shocked because I was expecting people to hit me because usually when I say something about Trump, they nail me. But you know what? Today, they all agreed with me. Even the hard MAGA agrees with me that Trump went way over the bounds. And I'm sorry. America First was not sending more troops in America, more nation building, you know, creating jobs overseas. Mr. President, we have hellholes right here. Go into where I grew up, okay? Go into the inner cities. Tell your investor buddies to invest here at home. Stop hiding behind Republican and Democrat cloaks, right? You and your buddies can go invest and help out these places and, you know, fix our shorelines, fix our bridges, fix our roads. You know, listen, I travel across the country quite a bit. Matter of fact, I'm going to Vegas in April. I will pass decay in every state. Red and blue, okay? Every state has it. I don't give a shit where you live, okay? So let's stop with all the poverty's in one area and not in the other. Bullshit. I can find it. I see it all the time. And you know what? You know the people who don't see it? Like this. The people who are like this. They just have their blinders on. You know, look, there are plenty of places here in America we can invest in. We certainly don't have to dump another $1 trillion in the Middle East. Now, Trump said that this will bring great stability back to the Middle East. How has that worked out for Iraq, Afghanistan, even Iran? You know, why are the Iranian Ayatollahs still in Iran? How did they get there? Most Americans today don't even know how the Iranian Ayatollahs got there. It is because of the American government and the CIA overthrowing their elected government because the Iranians wanted to keep their own resources. They wanted to keep their own oil. Of course, we couldn't allow that. So what we did was we tried to steal it from them. That didn't work. So that we assassinated their leaders. And we put these people in. So now we're in a forever conflict with Iran. Okay? Look at what we've done down in South America. Look at what our CIA has done under both parties to South America. You know, look, we're upset that illegals are coming into our country, right? But we don't talk about the destabilization that both parties have committed, literally killing their leaders, overthrowing their leaders, doing everything we can to crush their currency, crush their economies. So of course, look, the people are desperate. Look, I got to admit, if I was in Central America or South America, and I see this beautiful place up there called America, and I could go make a living and be, I would go. I'd lie if I said that I wouldn't. Hell, my family escaped European poverty and tyranny to come to America, right? Why? Why did we come here? Because we wanted the same thing. So, but again, why are these things unstable? Why is Iran so unstable? Because we did it. So why would Iran trust us? Especially when Trump in his first term assassinated one of their biggest leaders in broad daylight, okay? Which everybody cheered. And I said, okay, that's great, but now what's going to happen? Well, you know what's happened since then? Our ships have been shot at. Our airmen have been shot at. Ships have been diverted. There were hijackings on the high seas since that guy was killed. Solomon, whatever his name is. Look, you would never hear what I just said on public broadcast. That's a fact. I'm surprised I haven't broke. Oh, I did. I broke community standards. Because again, they don't want to talk about the truth about Iran. They don't want to talk about the truth about this stuff. Who in the world would believe that America is going to bring stability to the Middle East with our track record? Listen, people, we got to wake up to this. It's completely ridiculous. Trump even floated the suggestion to permanently displace Palestinians by sending them out of the area beyond Jordan and Egypt. Where is any of this in the Constitution? The Constitution doesn't allow executive orders. The Constitution doesn't even mention them. Yet Trump is the executive order president. Investors like Larry Fink of BlackRock. Now, if you know of Larry Fink, BlackRock, if you don't, look him up. He's one of the biggest reasons why our real estate is so expensive. He said before the election that it didn't matter which side won because they were going to get what they wanted regardless. And boy, did they sure get what they wanted. So I believe we could get ready for a big false flag that might lead us to war with Iran. So you heard it here, because little people like Little Marco and all these people walking around with their chest outs on Fox News, all talking tough. These pricks never fought a fight in their life, but they're quick to send your kids and my kids over there to fight. And there's enough stupid people out there to fall for it. So now we're talking about evacuating 2.2 million people, which of course is completely ridiculous.
Donald Trump here, I love this guy. Isn't he just fantastic? Let's make Gaza great again. Bobby, I tell you, great show tonight. We just have to bulldoze the people out of the way, and we are going to build the great Gaza Plaza Hotel and Casino. Make Gaza great again. Good night, Bobby Bones.
Yeah, there's a message. There you go. Yeah, we're going to make Gaza great again. Thank you, Mr. President. Now, here's one that I'm sure a lot of people voted for, right? What do you know? Weapons are going back to Ukraine again. They're continuing. After a brief pause when President Trump took office, but resumed over the weekend. Why is Trump resuming Ukraine weapons? Because he said that he was interested in the rare earth materials. So basically, he's willing to trade weapons for rare earth materials, even though he campaigned on ending the war in Ukraine. And he even promised he would get it done before he even got sworn in. Promises made, promises kept, right? So I'm sure, everybody out there defending Republicans or defending Democrats, love this. They just, do you see this? I mean, You know, it's completely ridiculous. Is that where your attack money is supposed to go? Is that where the bombs? Is that where our missiles? Maybe I'll have trouble getting aluminum again. You know, because now it's back on. He actually advocated for Europe to pay more for Ukraine. Well, I thought we were going to end the war. So no signs of the Ukraine war coming to an end anytime soon. Trump also made a comment that we have oceans between us. Has nobody showed Trump the Rushneck missile that could go 7,600 miles per hour and is practically impossible to stop according to the Pentagon? Okay? So the oceans, you can no longer say, oh, I have an ocean to protect me. Because now, Russia and China both have ballistic missiles that can literally go and hit us pretty darn quick. Look, somebody needs to tell the president this isn't the 1800s, and America better stop giving munitions away because we might need them. You know, we just might need them. So, most of President Trump's campaign is not true. The legal truth is he's done that even though he's against the Constitution, but everything else. Oh, I'm so sorry, Amy. Please don't lose any sleep over this stuff. You know, this is why, you know, I started this, you know, to educate people, to give people a different perspective, to break through the lies and the bullshit. You know, just tell the truth. Look, it's okay. Look, you know, look, if Trump makes a mistake, that's fine. But if you're blatantly doing something wrong, we should call that out. Now, look, when Trump does something good, I always announce it. You know, so you have to, you know, that's why I don't like CNN or MSNBC or Fox, because all they do is cheerlead for their side, you know, and like, let's take The Five on Fox. So there's a show called The Five, and it's 5 people, and it's usually 4 Republicans and 1 really stupid Democrat who can't defend himself, and they do that to make the Democrat look really stupid, right? Because it's 4 against 1. Like, they laugh at him. They make him out to be a joke. And, you know, to be honest, a lot of times the guy is a joke. But they won't have somebody real on there. They won't put somebody like me on there. There's libertarians. They'll never put a real libertarian on there. Or a Democrat who can actually, like Cenk Uygur on TYT. I think he would be great to put on there. Let's see them debate that guy and get away with that nonsense. They would never get away with it. So it makes them look tougher than they actually are. And CNN does the same thing. CNN has a round table, I think around 10, 11 o'clock at night. They'll have 6 people at a table. It'll be 5 Democrats and 1 Republican that looks like an idiot, right? So both sides do this. And they do it. It's all propaganda, okay? And it's to cheerlead for their side. I'm not cheerleading for any side, but for the Constitution, individual liberty, individual economic prosperity. That's what I'm cheerleading for. And I'm voting for whoever is willing to give me the most of that. Whoever is trading in that currency, I'm voting for.
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, this is Barack Hussein Obama, and I have to agree with Donald Trump. Bobby Bones and Broom Media is the best. And Bobby, you should definitely be a guest on The Five. They wouldn't know how to handle you. Ha 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 ha, good night.
Oh, Barack Hussein Obama. I think Trump did a better job, I gotta be honest. So I'm going to go into this other story. China is building the largest laser to harness nuclear fission in the world. The X-shaped facility is far greater in size than anything we're building in the U.S. And is another sign that China is passing America in technology, science, and basic common sense. This supersized facility is a sign that China is leaping ahead in the race for nuclear fusion. It might give them limitless supply of energy. Also, it can amp up their nuclear program and create weapons far more powerful than anything we have. Just to put this into perspective, this facility is 50 times bigger than our largest facility that is located in California. This is at a time when China is going all in on energy. They've created more wind, more solar than the rest of the world combined. They are gearing up for an economy that is self-sufficient and cannot be bullied by OPEC or the US. And you know what? We see that with the trade war because China's retaliated with tariffs. They're not backing down. They're like, look, you know what? We've played this game the last time. They believe they have the stronger hand, and I believe that they do too. Look, all China's got to do is start selling treasuries, and we're finished, right? Because right now, when America sells treasuries, right, the Federal Reserve is buying a bunch of them. And the reason why the Federal Reserve is monetizing our debt is because nobody else wants it. Because they know they're not going to get paid. Which is creating inflation. And I went over this a couple of episodes ago. That in December, the Federal Reserve increased inflation by 0.04%. Well, because that's an increase of the money supply. If you extrapolate that out the year, that's 5% inflation. That's almost triple what the target is, what they've been trying to target now for the past 8 years. 5 years, I'm sorry. So clearly, look, we're losing the inflation war. We're losing the economy. We are making crazy deals now that make no sense. Why? Because our country's falling apart. I studied when Great Britain was, Great Britain was great, right? And then it became not so great when we took over as the world power. And you know what? The UK, Great Britain, they tried what we're doing to China, and it didn't work. People should go back and look at what the UK did. They tried tariffs, they tried this, they tried that. But what happened was in America, and this is the spirit I would love to bring back. How were we able to become the most powerful country on the planet? Because our government was so small, you didn't even know it was there. Your money was so sound, okay, that prices went down, okay, that production went up. You could start a fruit stand. You could start a bicycle shop. You could start an automotive industry. And it was rather simple comparative to the rest of the world, right? And why? Because we had the greatest economic and individual freedom on the planet. Because we followed the Constitution. Our money was backed by real gold, right? And so, you could, this is the part that Trump misses. You could run your country on tariffs and get rid of the income tax, which I would love. The problem is that back then, this is the part that Trump misses. The government was about 5% the size it is now. So you'd have to get rid of 95%. That's the military, Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, all of these welfare programs, right? All these Ponzi schemes you'd have to get rid of. Okay? So, this is the problem. We have backed ourselves in a corner because politicians wanted to buy voters, cycle after cycle after cycle. Libertarians have been saying for a long time, and a lot of Republicans years ago, hey, you're kicking the can down the road. Hey, you're kicking the can down the road. Hey, now it's no longer a can. It's a boulder. And it's too big. And now when you kick it, you break your foot. Right? This is the problem. So, look, it's important that, like I said, in order for us to be successful, we need to go back to the Constitution. I always say if it's not in the Constitution, we shouldn't do it. And, we don't have to violate the Constitution to get what we want, right? We could fix immigration. We could fix the dollar. We could fix jobs. But we have to follow the Constitution. And I'm sorry, every time we violate the Constitution, we are violating individual and economic rights. Now, we might like some of the stuff that happens, that goes on, but there is a reaction to that, okay? And it's that reaction, it's the unintended consequences that keep sinking us in deeper. So I'm going to leave you with this last story. It's about story number 7. Are there no men in the Trump administration that have not either paid women to shut up about sexual assault? You know, in the Kennedy confirmation hearings, it turned out that RFK paid a woman $1 million to keep quiet. What the hell did he do to that woman that he had to give her $1 million? That was just one woman. He's paid several women to shut up with sexual abuse. You know, but again, you know, we don't care about this stuff. You know, voters don't care. They don't care what Robert Kennedy's going to go after Coca-Cola, or, you know, he's not going to like a chicken cutlet or something. We don't know what this guy's not going to like, right? But now we put our faith in this guy who was a Democrat. And, you know, look, I just wish the same people who bitched about, you know, when Democrats would get rid of, say, oh, we can no longer manufacture gas stoves, right? It's the same thing when you say you can't manufacture Coca-Cola in this matter. It's the same thing, right? Just leave us alone, right? Do we have to hire Robert Kennedy, who's paid women $1 million? Like, you know, look, this is ridiculous. I'm so sick of this stuff. You know, I'm sick and tired of every year, you know, we pay congressmen sexual assault victims right out of the fund. Like, I'm just so tired of it. And I know everybody is like, oh, well, you know, who cares? And, you know, it doesn't matter. You know, but it does matter. You know why it matters? Because those are the same people that will tell you what you can do in your bedroom. Oh, can you watch porn or not? Can you do this? Can you do that? What are you smoking? You know, these are the same hypocrites that would tell you constantly how to live. While they're out there sexually abusing people, doing drugs themselves, doing all sorts of weirdo stuff, okay? They're the first ones to tell you, you can't drink that Coke, or you can't do this, or you can't do that. And I'm just kind of sick of the hypocrisy. Yeah, I agree with you, Amy. What does he know? I don't know. I can't tell you. But, you know, I don't know if he's going to get confirmed or not, but I'm so sick and tired of these stories coming out. I mean, it kind of wears me down. You know, like, you know, why do we have to keep defending these people? Like, that's the part that I don't get. When are we going to stop defending these people? You know, look, are we that stupid? We know why the woman got the $1 million. We know why. Now, again, you're innocent until proven guilty, but we are allowed to have an opinion, you know? And I'm sorry, my opinion is, you know, if you had to pay a woman $1 million to keep quiet, you're probably guilty. Just saying, you know? And so anyway, listen, I'm going to leave you with that. This has been a pretty, birds of a feather flock together. Yes, my mother did teach me that. My uncle did, my grandparents did. You know, my grandmother had a saying, believe nothing of what you hear and only half of what you see. And she was such a wise woman. God bless her. I mean, we need more women like that, more women like you guys, that are willing to step out of your comfort zone and think a little bit and, you know, call out bullshit when you see it. Listen, I love you guys. I'm going to be in...
Joe Rogan here. Love the show tonight.
Thank you, Joe Rogan. Look, I'm going to Myrtle Beach. I'm going to try and do a live tomorrow. I don't know what time. I can't even tell anybody what time. But when I'm in Myrtle Beach, I like to do it during the day because I like the ocean behind me. So I'll just go on and riff for, you know, a few minutes or an hour or whatever. But I really appreciate everybody for spending time with me. You guys are great. Please go to my YouTube, subscribe, check out. I got some cool graphics on there that I add now to my videos that you don't get to see on here. I'm trying to upgrade my pages as I go. I did a show on TikTok. It was pretty cool. Again, on there, I'll tell you what, I had at least within, I would say within 5 minutes, I had over 500 people. And they were hearting me, sending me gifts, and all sorts of stuff. So, and maybe as I'm loading up this YouTube, maybe I'm going to jump on TikTok. Let's see how that goes. I got to see how I feel after I jump off. But listen, I love you guys. God bless. Have a great night. Take care. God bless. Put your family first. And I love you, Constitution. I love you guys. Take care. Goodbye.